guys, what's up? My name is Jasmine, and in today's video I am going to be showing y'all how I calculated my calorie deficit that has helped me lose right around 94 pounds in the past 9.5, almost 10 months. For any of you who might be new here, I have been on a weight loss journey since January 1st of this year, and at my heaviest I started at 343 pounds, and as of Wednesday, October the 9th, I am down to 249.6. So that is a total of 94.2 pounds lost. I have been using both a calorie deficit as well as working out, and I also have been on the compounded GLP-1 medication tirzepatide, which I have been sharing my weekly weigh-ins while taking that and just kind of talking about my experience with that medication. One thing I have talked about in a lot of my videos is how while tirzepatide has definitely played a huge role and been incredibly helpful in this weight loss journey for me, I do feel that the basis for any weight loss journey is really just a calorie deficit. And that can be true for any type of diet you're trying, and even if you're taking medication, you still have to ultimately be in a calorie deficit in some way to lose weight. So that has been what I have focused on for my whole weight loss journey. That's what works for me. I do track my calories on an app on my phone, and I also try to pay attention to protein and get a good amount of protein in, but those are really the only two things that I pay attention to when it comes to my diet. Like I said, today I am just going to show you guys how I go in and calculate my calorie deficit. And I do want to preface this by saying that I am not a nutritionist. I am not a certified anything, honestly. I am a registered nurse, but I don't specialize in nutrition, so I'm not meaning to give any legitimate advice, I guess. I'm just sharing what I do, what I've done, what has worked for me, and what has helped me lose 94 pounds so far. I am going to go ahead and just get right into it. So the website that I go to start calculating my calorie deficit is called tdeecalculator.net. So I am going to calculate my calories as if I was starting from the beginning of my journey, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what I did when I was at my heaviest weight and I was just trying to figure out what I could do, how much calories did I need to eat to start losing weight. So I am a female, obviously, and I am 28 years old. I will be 29 in November, but back in January I was a fresh 28, and my starting weight was 343 pounds. I'm 5'3", and as far as activity and body fat percentage, I never put anything in those because I don't really feel like they matter and as far as how I calculate my deficit. So as you can see, it shows you right away your maintenance calories. So when I first started my journey, it says basically for me to maintain my weight of 343 pounds, I needed to be eating 2,706 calories. Now, this is a rough estimate. These numbers are not 100% accurate, so as with anything, take it with a grain of salt. This is a rough estimate. Right around 2,700 calories is what I was needing to eat in order not to gain or lose any weight. And if you look at it from a weekly basis, that's 18,942 calories. So what I would do is go down to the bottom. It has 3 little options. You have your maintenance option, cutting, and bulking. I would go to cutting. and it breaks it down for you. It tells you that if you want to be in a 500 calorie a day deficit, then you need to eat 2206 calories per day, 2200 basically. And then it even gives you macros if that's something you're wanting to pay attention to. Like I said, I do try to get a good amount of protein, but I don't set a specific protein goal per se. I just try to pick higher protein options when I can. So yeah, basically when I first started out, that was pretty much my deficit. I would aim for anywhere from right around 2100 up to 22. I would really try to not eat any less than 2000 calories a day. These calculators are not always 100% accurate, especially if you are working out or if you work a really active job, or maybe you work a more sedentary job. You know, these numbers can fluctuate dramatically. Also, muscle mass can play a factor because muscle does burn more calories than fat. So if you are more muscular, maybe you're burning more than a calculator would tell you. For me personally though, like I said, I'm speaking on my experience. I went based off of this calculator, and I just kind of aimed to not eat any more than 2200 calories in a day. In the first month of me doing this in January, I lost 26 pounds. And so granted, I know that it wasn't a whole 26 pounds of fat. Obviously, there was, you know, probably a lot of water weight and other things for me just changing my lifestyle at that point. You do tend to lose a lot of weight the quickest in the beginning, and then obviously as months go on it kind of slows down a bit. But yeah, by simply limiting my calories to no more than 2200 for the first month, I lost 26 pounds. And I did stay with that calorie range for a good few months, I want to say. I don't know exactly when I decided to switch it. I know some people will recommend adjusting your deficit every 10 to 20 pounds. Once I start to notice that, okay, I've kind of been stalling for like a month now, then I start thinking maybe I need to adjust my calories. And so that is basically what has prompted me to adjust my calories now. Basically since September 25th up until now, I've been ranging right around 250 pounds. So for the past for the past 4 weigh-ins, that's been pretty stagnant. And so that is why I today am planning to adjust my calories. I have only adjusted my calories in the past almost 10 months that I've been on a calorie deficit. I have only adjusted it twice. So the first time, and then I've adjusted it once. I went from my 22 to 2000 range, and then I did adjust it. Currently I am aiming for anywhere from 1850 up to 1950, sometimes even 2000 calories a day. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my maintenance calories and I'm going to subtract 300, and so that gives me 1888 calories. I am going to use that as my upper limit for adjusting my calories. I like to think of it more like a range. So I like to have like, what is the least amount of calories I want to try to aim to consume, and then the most amount of calories. And again, this is not set in stone. Obviously there are days, special occasions, there are times when I don't pay attention to the calories at all in anything, like, you know, life happens. And so this is not like incredibly rigid, but it is kind of a goal, I guess, for just a regular day. my goal is going to be anywhere from no less than 1688, which I will round that up to 1700, and no more than 1888 or 1900, which according to this calculator would be anywhere from a 300 to 500 calorie per day deficit. Now, that being said, I know that my calorie deficit will in theory be more than that because I work out 5 days a week. Another thing to keep in mind is that as a generalized kind of rule, basically you can pretty much burn about 2 pounds of body fat in a week before you start cutting into burning more muscle than fat. So 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. And if you multiply that by 2, that's 7,000 calories per week that you would need to be in a deficit in order to burn 2 pounds of fat. If you divide that by 7, that is 1,000 calories a day deficit. So if you are in a deficit of greater than 1,000 calories in a day, your body could potentially start burning more muscle than fat at that point, and you want to try to avoid that only because muscle again burns more calories than fat. So the more muscle you have, the more easily your body is burning fat, if that makes sense. Obviously, this is all more complicated than I'm making it, but that is something I like to keep in the back of my mind, is I don't want to eat certainly not 1,000 calories less than my maintenance calories, because at that point I would know for sure I would be probably not eating enough and potentially getting into that muscle burning zone. So yeah, that is kind of how I calculate my calorie deficit. There are multiple ways to do this though. I know some people will not even use a calculator. They will literally just eat a certain amount of calories for like a week and see if they gain or lose anything, and if they don't, then they know that is their maintenance mode, and they will create a deficit based off of that number, which is probably more accurate than some of these calculators. But obviously that could take time to get an accurate number because you may have to adjust until you find your maintenance. For me personally, I just like to kind of keep it in the back of my mind that I aim to eat as many calories as I can and still lose weight. And that is something that I think is just kind of a good practice. Some people kind of get in the mindset of, well, I want to lose weight more quickly, so I'm going to go into this huge deficit. And what ends up happening is it's not sustainable, because even if you lose a good amount of weight, eating 1,200 calories a day, eventually your body adjusts to that number, and then there's really very little wiggle room to keep cutting in order to keep losing once you inevitably hit that stall. So yeah, like I said though, this is just what I have used to help me lose my weight. Obviously there are a ton of different ways to lose weight, but in my personal opinion, this is just the thing that has made the most sense for me in my mind and how my mind works. Also, I will say that I consider myself a picky eater, and that is something that has kind of made it difficult for me in the past. When I was younger, I used to think that you had to eat a certain type of way, or you had to eat healthy foods to lose weight, and it just made it hard for me to stick to anything because I would try to force myself to eat foods I just didn't like, foods I didn't enjoy eating, because I thought that was the only way that I could lose weight, and you know, I would do it for a few weeks maybe and then crash and burn and rinse and repeat. So I feel like with the calorie tracking, for me, it kind of just has given me the mental freedom of knowing like I can eat whatever I want and I don't restrict any types of foods. And again, everyone has their own preferences with what foods they want to eat. For me personally, I mentally just am not in a place where I want to restrict any food types of food or food groups. So I eat pizza, I eat takeout, I eat junk food if it fits in my calories. And in all transparency, some days, some weekends, I don't track at all. Like, life is just gonna keep on lifing, and I feel like if you get too caught up mentally in being 100% accurate 100% of the time, you are setting yourself up for failure. Because in the past almost 10 months, there have been birthdays, holidays. I have had mental and emotional ups and downs and life things that have happened, and if I was so caught up in making sure that I was eating a very particular type of way or only eating a certain amount of calories every single day and never having a day where I didn't track at all, I probably would crash and burn. Because, you know, again, it's about flexibility. It is about being able to maybe have an off day, but the next day you get up and you do the things that you know you need to do to get back on track. And so that's something I wasn't able to do in the past, and I really think it was because I had limiting beliefs about what types of food I needed to consume in order to lose weight. Now, this is not an argument on what you need to eat to be healthy, but me personally, being over 340 pounds at one point, I believe that the best thing that I could have done at that point for my health was to lose weight by any means necessary. And so that is why I chose a calorie deficit, because I knew that that was the only thing that I could mentally commit to. I feel like I'm going on a bit of a tangent about this, but I guess I'm just trying to give this message to whoever needs to hear it. If you feel like you can't lose weight because you quite literally just hate salads and hate vegetables and, you know, enjoy takeout and McDonald's, I am here to tell you that you can still lose the weight and you can still eat McDonald's. As long as you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. And is that healthy in the long term? It's debatable, but I feel like everyone should start where they're at, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and it probably never will be perfect. I am still not perfect. I have still been successful. I have almost lost 100 pounds in less than a year, and I have done it by starting where I am at. So like I said, I hope this video finds whoever needs to hear it, and other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. If you have not subscribed yet, please consider. I am trying to grow this channel as well as my TikTok, which I will leave linked down in the description. I share a lot of what I eat in a day and stuff like that over there, weight loss related content. So if that's something you're interested in, follow me there as well. And as always, I appreciate you guys for all of your wonderful comments and likes and support. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next one.